I've been tagged. I'm sure you've heard by now about the Werewolf Directory database, or simply put, the directory. Since this federal database has been established, under the noses of US citizens since its first time being talked about in public was announcement of its immediate and compulsory tagging system. Known werewolves have been dragged out of their homes, photos and fingerprints taken, and put into an online directory that alerts people if there's a werewolf in their neighborhood the same way that they would sexual predators. We're one step away from being given armbands to make us visible to the public. The thing about being a werewolf is that, unlike race, it's something that people can choose to hide. But unlike sexuality, your parents are already in the know and part of the same community for the most part. So, with adults wanting their children safe, they can choose to ask them to hide it. At the same time, with werewolves already structured into the government or the police or something, we're in a position to make change perhaps quicker than other minorities. With that being said, with all the small communities coming together for positive change, all the people against us were also growing stronger and brasher and more likely to cause harm. And they have decided themselves the default and found ways to make our nature inexcusable. And they are pushing werewolves out of high power positions any way they can. The directory means that if werewolves get found out, they won't be able to hide it from anybody. Werewolves will have to decide if they want to stand with their community or keep secret to try and make changes from within. And this is a difficult choice for many reasons. One being that werewolves have had a strong sense of community long before we became public. Families spanning generations joining other local families to share the full moon. It also means that because this community knows one another, the government can very easily treat this like the Red Scare, blacklisting anyone, werewolf or not, if they don't give up names of other werewolves or sympathizers. People like my very human mother can be just as out of a job and destitute as any werewolf that they want to keep from getting hired. Fun fact, we've been hunted for years. This is nothing new. But the blatant McCarthyism of these witch hunts are fairly civil compared to the other news that broke this week. Human family members of werewolves weren't the only ones aware of their existence. There's also this.
As far as I'm concerned, if it's still hunting season and I see a furry body and sharp teeth, it's my right to shoot.
It gets worse.
Michael Hartwell is one of many Canadians who created the Sons of Saul, a militia group bent on targeting werewolves.
There were always stories of First Nations disappearing in Canada, and the stories never getting traction despite the near genocides that were happening. If the Canadian government could sweep that kind of racist killings under the rug, it wouldn't surprise me that werewolf hunters were something that they casually turned a blind eye to. Before Nina came out, I never knew another werewolf. My dad died before my mom even knew she was pregnant. I had to figure all of this out myself. It was scary being alone, trying to figure yourself out in a world where I couldn't even talk to someone about it. This is scarier. Slowly, I'm not on my own anymore. I have Nina and her family, a couple of online groups that I've been introduced to. I love having people that I can be myself with and ask questions and talk about my experiences and not feel so alien. But as much as I've always wanted that, I never wanted this. Fear that I may be hunted down by some civilian militia. Fear that I'm going to be shipped off to a camp somewhere is nothing more than a number. If you look me up, I'm known as the government file 54-19-2027. My name is Selina, and I turn into a wolf. I am a werewolf.
They're already kind of horny.
So, yeah.